Okay, 9-1, square roots.
No, can you
Okay.
please stop?
Stop. Okay, square roots, 9-1. I'm gonna read a little something, and then we're gonna talk about that paragraph that's written on the board. It says, in September of every even numbered year. So is this an even numbered year?
Yes.
2020? Yeah. So in September, this is gonna take place, okay? In September of every even number year, people in Maristada, Italy, play an unusual chess game. Each chess piece is portrayed by a person.
Oh my god.
So it's like a massive chess game, and like a person stands there.
Oh, there was one of those on a cruise ship one time.
Yeah, so a person stands there, and then they like move that chess piece however you can. Isn't that cool?
Oh my god.
Yeah. The people portraying the knights are even on horseback.
Wait, what?
We did not have that.
So when you're a knight, like a knight is on horse,
Yeah,
right?
on a
Yeah.
horse.
So it's, they're like on horses. They sit on horses.
Literally, I'm thinking about Harry
God.
Potter right now.
The chessboard is a square with an area of 324 square meters. Okay? And so what is the length of each side of the board? That's what it wants to know. So it says the chessboard described as a square with an area of 324 square meters. So the length of each side of a chessboard is the positive square root of 324. Why would it be the positive square root of 324?
Is it a perfect square?
Well, yes, it says it's perfect square. So what does that mean about each side?
It's equal.
They're all equal, right? Okay. And how do you find the area of a square?
Divided.
No.
Oh, area of, okay, my
Oh,
bad, my bad.
thank you, but thanks.
A equals base on height, I think.
How do you find the area of a square?
I have no clue. I think it was 8.
If I have a square, right? If I have this square, how do you find the area of it? What do you do?
You add the sides together.
Length?
No, not the perimeter.
Oh.
Length times width, which in a
Close.
square, these are the same things, yes?
Yeah.
And they usually represent it like this, so it's s squared, because it's s times s, which is s squared. So if I take the square root of 324, I can figure out what each side length is.
Which is divided by?
No, it's
No,
not
you don't
divided,
divide.
stop, that's what I need you to get out of your head, that's what I'm trying to prove to you right here.
Oh.
It is not divided by 2, because this is not 2s when I multiply it together. S times s is s squared. Okay? If I put numbers in here, is 6 and 6 12?
No.
No, 6 times 6 is,
36.
I'm multiplying, I am not adding.
Okay.
Okay, which is why I can take the square root of the total and I'll figure out what each side length is. So how do you take the square root on your calculator?
Oh, I know,
Is it the pi thing?
Okay.
No,
If
this
this
part.
That's different.
No, it's this part, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, Brianna, question.
How do you
Oh, the
find
carrot?
it?
I know.
Carrot.
It's above the carrot, yeah, so you have to press second in the carrot.
What?
Wait, can I see it?
You have to press the button that says second on it
Wait.
in order
can I
to
see
get to
Which
it.
one?
Which one?
Second,
Oh, that.
This
Can
and
I
then
see
the
which
carrot.
one it is?
And see, you can see the square root.
here? That's
Oh.
a carrot?
Yes, that's what it's called, second
Let me see your
carrot.
full thing.
And then put 324 in there and what do you get?
18.
Okay, now let me teach you a little secret about
Wait,
this.
what?
Let me see.
What?
324, it gave me 1.3.
It gave me 2.
No.
It said overflow error.
Then you guys aren't plugging it in your calculator, right? Because it's 18.
Isn't this what you're supposed to do?
Second
No.
square, 3.
You
Oh,
press second.
oh, okay,
Caleb.
okay, you hit
You
the
have a
wrong
secret.
number.
Oh, you hit the wrong one. It's
Yeah.
above the x squared,
So-
sorry.
Yeah, I was
It's
like,
the
saying,
X squared right there.
It's above the
Second,
x
and
squared,
then
not
it's
above the
that.
carrot, sorry.
And then
I
you
just
put
read
it
it wrong. Mine's different. I have some-
Here? My button?
You friend.
Second,
Oh, that?
I think
Second.
above the button,
Oh.
an outline
Now
below
press
it.
I pretty much
Oh.
understand.
Okay,
where-
so here's the deal. Your answer is 18. Now, here's the other deal. Listen to this. When you take the square root of something, you always get 2 answers. Okay? Watch this. In your calculators, press 18 times 18. What do you get? Okay? In your calculator, press negative 18 times negative 18. What do you get?
Which is negative
Negative
36.
324.
324.
Oh, I thought it was
Because a negative times a negative is a.
Positive.
Okay, so when you take the square root of something, you always get a positive and a negative answer. They'll represent it like this, plus
Oh,
or
I
minus
oh, I
18.
remember this.
Oh, yeah.
Now, listen to me. Anytime you are doing measurements, can you have a negative answer?
No.
No, so what does my answer have to be? Is it positive
Positive.
18 or negative 18?
Positive.
Positive 18, so it's 18 meters, right?
Mhm.
Because that's what it says
So
right
do we
here.
always
So
put the
if it-
positive or
if it
negative
Can
18?
never be like, oh, that's not.
So
that's not
each
gonna
side length is 18 meters in this case. Now, yes, Matthew, you always put the positive or negative unless it specifies in the problem. If it specifies in the problem saying we only want positive answers, you only give me the positive answer. If it specifies in the problem with measurement, you're only gonna give me positive. Can't have negative measurement.
Right.
Okay, so otherwise, you're gonna answer so, with a plus or a minus. Because here's the deal, when you get into higher math, into algebra 2, you get two possible answers. And one of them might work and one might not. So the negative answer might work, but the positive might not for what situation you're in.
Huh?
I'll show you later.
Okay.
What does
Okay.
that say?
So, let's talk about this. You are going to have to memorize the square roots, okay, up to 20, meaning this. You're gonna have, if I say what is the square of 15, you're gonna have to give me the answer off the top
We
of your
did
head.
this last year in McCabe's class.
We
Okay.
did- didn't
Well,
Miss
we're
McKee
gonna
give
do
us
it
a
again.
sheet?
Okay.
Yeah, but that.
Except for I'm not giving you a sheet this year, so you need to go home and write it out yourself and
That's gonna
start
be
studying, because
fun.
next Wednesday you're gonna have a quiz over it.
Please excuse this interruption.
Wait, we have a
Natalie
quiz every
Troutman,
3
please come to
days,
the
right?
front office.
What's,
Natalie
I said I'm
Troutman
not
to the front
giving
office.
you a sheet. What is 1 squared?
One.
One.
What is 2 squared?
Oh, we're doing this now.
Two, four,
4. What's 3
Oh.
squared?
9.
six,
9.
nine.
Stop
Nine.
adding them
Oh,
together.
No, here's it, in my brain is working.
It feels like we did last year.
4 squared,
16.
5 squared.
25.
25.
What's 6 squared?
36.
36.
These are the easy ones. 7 squared,
49.
8 squared,
64.
64.
9 squared,
81.
good. 10 squared,
100.
100.
okay. What is 11 squared?
100 or 100.
121, good. What is 12 squared?
144.
244.
142.
What's 13 squared?
169.
Good. What's 14 squared?
196.
Oh, what about this?
196, yes. What is 15 squared?
225.
Good. What
So we're not gonna be able to
is
use our calculator?
16 squared? Nope. I'm gonna literally say,
256.
here's how this quiz is gonna go. I'm
We
gonna
just-
say, take out a paper, number it 1 through 20. I'm gonna say number 1, tell me what 10 squared is, and
We
you're
did
gonna
this
have 10
last
seconds,
year.
5 seconds to write down.
Oh yeah, we did
Okay.
that.
We did that in
What's-
McCabe's class, yeah.
What's 17 squared?
289.
I got like a D in
And this is
for
fourth grade, right?
What's 18 squared?
324.
What's 19 squared?
361.
3, yes. And what is 20 squared?
400?
Yeah.
200?
400.
400.
That's how far you're gonna have to have memorized.
Oh, excuse me.
Can we take a picture of that?
Picture real quick.
Hey, send that to me.
Or how about you guys take it at the end of the lesson? Like we always do.
Yeah, Carl, you're disturbing the
Also-
lesson.
Also, I'm not sure why 3 of you were able to just bring your phones out of your pockets. That sounds like a card mark to me.
Jane.
No, sir.
Perfect squares, okay? So we are going to have to memorize up to 20. Because here's the deal. Please have that memorized because you'll make your life easier when you get to algebra
What,
2.
that?
13, we have to
Okay.
study from 13 to 20 basically, yeah.
Right, you should know up to 13 pretty easy already, yes?
Yeah.
That shouldn't be too bad.
Well,
No.
13 and 14 are
15
like
is an easy one for me to remember. For some reason, I forget 14 and 16 a lot, and I don't know.
Here's the thing. When I'm doing 13 and 14, it's like the opposite. Like
Okay,
6 and 9.
So tell me this, what is the square root of this number?
12.
Nope, I'm sorry, what's the square root of that number?
12. Well,
No,
Oh.
square root. Positive or negative 12?
good, thank you.
Aha!
Oh.
She thought-
Ah.
What's the square root of this number?
Positive or
Positive or
negative
negative
16.
16.
Okay, listen, on your homework, you better give me both answers or it's wrong,
Both.
okay? When it's
Oh.
just asking for the square root of it, you gotta give me a positive or negative.
Okay, you
It's
said
like
in
that word
measurement though,
problem
it
there.
only
You
says
said
it's
meters.
positive.
Okay,
What if it said-
You said
what
in
if it's
measurement
not-
it can only be positive, right?
our quiz is, I'm gonna give you a number, you gotta give me what the perfect square is.
Oh, that's
You know you said it can only be
Who's
positive in the measurements?
Oh, well, yes, right now with what we're dealing with. If we do like below sea level, it would be negative, but we're gonna not
Oh,
mess
you,
with that.
temperature, okay.
Yes, question, Matthew.
On the chessboard one,
Mm-hmm.
isn't that supposed to be just 18? Cause it's
No,
18
positive or
meters.
negative.
It is, it's just 18, but I was showing you that there's a positive and
Oh,
negative
okay.
answer. We have to use common sense to know that it's just that.
Okay,
Now,
thank you.
let's talk about this. When it says approximate, okay?
What?
Approximate.
How?
Okay, when it says approximate radical 51, I do not, listen to my words, I do not want you giving me a decimal answer. Because it says approximate, we're going to look at 51. Look at radical 51. What number, okay, does that fall in between? What perfect squares does that fall in between?
49 and 64.
49 and 64. This is how we're gonna approximate it. So we say, okay, it's between those two, yes?
Do subtract.
So here's how you write this out. You would say 49 is less than 51, right?
That's correct.
And 51 is less than,
64.
okay. So, we're then going to work from there. So we're gonna then say, okay, let's take the squares of these. What's the square of 49?
Positive or negative 7.
Okay, so in this case, we're just gonna say
Oh,
7 because of how we're approximating,
oh.
okay? So 7 is less than radical 51, which is less than what?
8.
Okay, so when it says approximate, okay, I want us to like start this process, so you gotta show me a little bit of work here, okay? From there, my answer would be, because 51 is closer to 49 than to 46, radical 51 is closer to what?
Radical 49.
49.
It is 7.
Good, so I'm gonna say radical 51 is approximately 7.
Oh, you do the little squiggly.
Yeah, congruent to, similar to, yes, congruent to 7, okay?
Wait, what?
This is how you're going to give me an answer when it says approximate. Do you understand that? They want you to start thinking and relating numbers back and forth rather than plugging it in your calculator and not using your brain. Yes?
Will you do another one, please?
Yep, we'll do another one, okay? So how about this? Let's say I want you to approximate, radical 125. Okay,
Radical dude.
let's approximate that.
160.
It's around
And
11 and 12.
125 is between,
11 and 12.
121 and 144.
so I wanna say radical 121 is less than,
That's complicated.
radical 125, which is less than,
124.
what does this come out to be?
Oh, positive or negative 11.
Okay, so 11 is less than radical 125, which is less than
12.
12. And which is this closer to,
11.
121 or
121.
144?
121.
So
it's 11.
radical 125
Is
is
approximately
approximately 11.
Well, last year, when Miss McCain taught us, she
It
told
was
us to like
confusing.
circle the number instead of just box it. She told us to like circle it.
This is a lot easier than how
Yeah.
she taught it.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Do circle or box it, whatever gives you your answer so I can see it. Okay, so does that make sense how we're approximating that?
Yes.
Caitlin, you have to know this chart for that to work. Do you know the chart? Okay, so then all you have to do is look at all the perfect squares and decide what number does it fall in between. It's always gonna fall between two sets. And then whichever one it's closer to, it's going to be congruent to whatever that perfect square is.
This is gonna be a fun lesson.
Okay.
Yep.
I
Now,
hated the fact
let's
that
do
you
it this way.
It's not that bad.
let's try a couple more things and then we'll do homework. Guys, stop talking and focus.
Yes.
Evaluate, okay? What's it mean when it says evaluate?
Look at the,
So, yeah, it means give me an answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
2.
Oh, this. Oh. I don't remember doing this.
Okay.
Oh, we plug in the numbers.
What do you think we need to do?
Plug in the numbers.
Okay,
Plug
we're gonna
in
put the
11
numbers
plus
in
5.
first, right? Oh, actually, I wanna make this list.
No,
Okay.
please. Stop.
So then I have 2, radical, what goes where the A is?
11.
11,
8.
where are you getting 8?
Oh no, I plugged it off.
No, that's not how it works. What goes in where the
Plus
B is?
5.
5
Plus 5
squared.
squared. Show me every step.
which will be 25.
Good. So then 2 radical 11 plus 25, because the order of operations says I need to do the square first, yes?
Mm-hmm.
What's 25 plus 11?
8.
No.
36.
36,
Wait a minute.
okay? So now I have 2 radical 36, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the square of 36?
Positive or negative 6.
Positive or negative 6. Okay, here's the deal. When we are doing evaluate like this, we're just gonna give us the positive answer.
Keep thinking you're dividing.
Okay? So then I have 2 times 6, which equals what?
12.
Okay?
Oh.
When it's in an evaluate, you're just gonna give me the positive square root. When it's like this
Plus
over
9.
here, where you're just taking the square root, you have to give me a positive and negative. Okay, let's try one last problem. You're gonna set up a problem for me. It says, an amusement park ride includes a free fall drop of 272 feet.
Okay.
You can use the equation D equals, okay, D equals 16t squared. To determine the time in seconds that it takes a dropped object to fall a distance of d feet. How long does it take for the free fall part of the ride? Well, what is our distance that we're falling?
16
No.
squared.
Wait, 6.
An amusement park ride includes a free fall drop of
200
272. 272. You're dropping 272 feet. Equals 16t squared. How do I solve that from here?
Divide by 16.
Divide by 16. Good. What's 272 divided by 16?
Wait, if it's
What's
squared?
272 divided?
Time out.
17 squared.
Just wait. What is 272 divided by 16?
17.
17?
Yeah.
Okay, 17. Now, how do you get rid of a square?
Oh, you subtract with another square?
No.
No. Don't you?
You square the
What's the
You
opposite
add
of
a
squaring
one.
something?
Dividing.
Half.
So
Nope,
multiplying.
listen.
half
If I square 6, what do you get?
or 36.
So how do I figure out?
You put a
Negative
1.
6.
Nope, stop.
This is the one thing we don't know.
I know, I'm getting you there. You need to think before you speak, okay? Listen. If I square 6, I get 36, right? Okay? Square 6, I get 36. How are these related? How do I get back down to 6?
You divide by 30.
No, you don't divide.
I
You
mean,
take the
Square
the-
root.
the square root. You take the square root. So how am I going to get rid of a square?
You take the square root.
Take the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides.
Oh.
When you do that here, these cancel out to just give you t. A square and a square root cancel each other out,
Oh.
okay? Now, what is my answer? The square root of 17 is what?
Oh, it doesn't
Four
fall between 9 and 16.
It does, but I'm not
You have to
asking you.
approximate.
I'm not asking you to approximate here. I'm asking you to give me an answer. So what do you need to do?
Seven.
4.
What do you need to do?
4.
Nope, it's
Plus.
not 4. What do you need to do? Is it a perfect square?
No.
So what do you have to use?
The numbers between.
Decimals. How do I do that, Sonia?
I don't know.
Fraction.
Guys, can I do that in my head?
Yeah.
So what tool do you have to use? Thank you. A calculator. If it's not a perfect square, you gotta use a freaking calculator. Use your calculator. What's the square root of 17? And
I
you
got
better
it.
round to at least 1 decimal. Because when it's
Four.
asking, no,
4.
I said round to a decimal.
It's 4.1.
4.1. Listen, I don't want 4 because 4 is not the square root of 17. It's the square root of what?
That's the square root of 16.
Oh.
It's the square root of
Oh.
16 because it's a perfect square. I don't want 4. I want 4.1 or whatever they tell you. Now, question. What's wrong with just the answer 4.1?
Well, you need a little. You need
It's
feet.
what did you say? No,
Positive or negative?
it's positive or negative.
Oh.
Here's why. What am I doing in this situation? Am I doing a positive 4.1 seconds or a negative 4.1 seconds?
Yeah. Wait.
But you're going down.
They're going down.
So it's negative?
So if it was distance in this case, I would use the negative, right? But is time negative?
No.
No, so how long does it take?
Positive.
Positive.
4.1 seconds.
4.1 seconds. Now, Matthew, you were on to something because I was heading down. If it was asking me like how many feet did I travel, in this case
Then
it
that
would
would
be
be
a,
negative.
yes, because I was traveling downward. Okay, does that make sense?
So take what?
So listen, let me recap for you real quick. First thing, if we are dealing with distances that are not like below sea level or falling, you always get a positive answer. We have lots of perfect squares we need to memorize, 1 through 20. When they just tell us to evaluate something that looks like this in a square root, I have a positive and a negative answer, okay? When they tell us to approximate, I have to go back and think, what does it fall between? I am not giving a decimal answer here when it says approximate. I am giving an actual number answer, I'm showing work, okay? When it says evaluate, I'm always assuming that I'm taking the positive solution right now. And then I would finish it out all the way. Then, when I'm dealing with word problems, and it is a radical that is not a perfect square, I've got to give at least 1 decimal point. You have to use your calculator, okay? This is what we're focusing on tonight for homework.
Can we leave it up on the board?
Yeah, but